Hi guys, just got done watching the third movie in the Hellraiser universe, Hellraiser Hell on Earth. It was made in 1992, which starred Doug Bradley, Kevin Bernhard, Lawrence Mortauf, Terry Farrell, Ken Carpenter, and Paula Marshall. The reason I'm reading IMDb on that is because I haven't got the Blu-ray or DVD, so I watched it on Netflix. So I apologise for that. So basically, this film takes it into a new takes. This film takes the this takes the franchise in a new direction. So here we go. Basically, in the beginning, Joey's upset because her stories are being taken from her. She's not getting the scope. She goes to leave, and somebody's rushed in with chains stuck in them, and one cuts her leg, and she wants to talk to the girl who found him, who ends up being called Terry. But before that, this guy JP gets this statue, and it's got Pinhead's face on it, and it's basically, I'm guessing it's supposed to be like the box at the end of the number 2. I'm guessing, I don't know, maybe, maybe not. There was some flashbacks about it, and to be honest with you, I didn't really care about it because I was like, eh. Then basically what happens is Joey has dreams about her dead dad, so she gets nightmares, and thanks to that she ends up talking to Captain Elliot Spencer, who is the human side basically of Pinhead. So she ends up going through a mirror thing that goes to a door, talks to him, Elliot Spencer, and he goes, "You have to get him in my world so I can defeat him and so I can stop him from doing these tragedies." And you're like, oh no. So then you're watching it, and she goes on about something about she doesn't think she can do it, and he goes, "You're brave. You've never shook the hand of a ghost before, have you?" Well, how many people do, you know? And it goes on about how she walked through a mirror, and people can't walk through mirrors unless they're brave. So I got up and I attempted to walk through my mirror, and instead I hurt myself. You know, I just was like, oh no. What else? So basically, he kills Terry, he kills the JP and that. First he goes to JP, "Oh, let me help you. You had sex with that woman and tied her up. You loved it, didn't you?" And JP's like, "Oh, I did." And then he basically sacrifices her to him. And then basically they plot things together because Hellraiser isn't the person he was in the first two. He's an evil villain who basically goes around going, "I'm just going to kill this person for the sake of it, because that's what we do." You know, all the other Cenobites are dead, but he's alive. And he finally gets free after Terry sacrifices JP to him because he's closest to him, I guess. And it gives her an ultimatum kind of thing about what choices she needs to make. So he's going around, and basically the film's interesting. It reminded me a lot of Wishmaster sequels about how they're really good, but they're not fantastic. And it kind of had the same kind of structure to many horror films that have many sequels. Like near the end, it's got all these new Cenobites, and they're all people that died who knew Joey, like Terry and JP and that. You're just sitting there going, but they look pathetic. I mean, don't get me wrong, the costumes were good, but you're just like, where's Butter? Where's Butterball? And where's Chatra? You know, you just want them. You don't want these cheap ass looking ones that really don't do anything for me. One's got DVD discs or CDs and throws it at people and kills them. Another one breathes fire out of its mouth, and you're just like, but the Cenobites never did that. And he says something. What is it he says? "Oh, these are handcrafted Cenobites. They're not as good. They're not as good as my other ones. Like they're a shadow of my other ones." And you're just sitting there going, Yeah, they're not just a shadow, mate. They suck. But Pinhead, another problem with the film is Pinhead doesn't have his deep voice anymore. It's like this. Instead of being like this, you think you can mess with us, Joey? It's like this. You can mess with us, Joey. And you're just like, when you're playing a human side of yourself as well, you need to not make it where you sound very similar. So you're just like, The story was pretty good. I enjoyed the story. It just wasn't anything on the other two Hellraisers. I mean, if I don't compare the other two, and I watch this one, I would really like it because I like films like The Wishmaster for 2, 3, and 4. And even though 3 and 4 are terrible, The Wishmasters, I do like them. They're not great, but I like them. And that's how I felt about Hellraiser Hell on Earth. It was good, but it's good in a standalone concept. If it had been a completely different movie, I'd probably give it more stars and probably been a lot better with it. But the fact that the first two Hellraisers are so fantastic and so great and so dark. Another thing this film had missing was the darkness. It just wasn't as dark or as mind blowing as the other two. You know, I mean, the other two, like you watch. I mean, when you watch the first three in I don't know what 5 hours. There's so much there in your mind that you can't help but not like number three as much because it's too close. Like for instance, I'm sure if I watched the Wait in one day of all nine, I should say, well, 8 originals, I should say. I'm sure if I did that, I'm sure I would hate probably the last ones even more than if I watched them tomorrow, because I'm going to be comparing them to the films I've just seen. I mean, Hellraiser 1, fantastic. Hellraiser 2 was just a little bit under. But the whole being in the hell world was amazing. Yeah, the CGI and the graphics were stupid now. But it was great. If they'd have had that Shannon story in number 2, it would have probably been a lot better. Oh, in Hell on Earth, they find Channa's work and all this in a folder that they're going for, and that's how the thing ends up with JP. And the end is just ridiculous. Spoiler alert, story alert. So she finally sees her dad, and she's like, Dad, it was a reward, oh no. And he went, you've got something for me. I was told you won't want it. And she goes, how did you know my name? You never met me, Daddy. You never met me. And he turns into Pinhead, and basically he's just about to kill her, and then he moves and he's in a room, and there's Elliot Spencer, his human self, and it's like the whole film's like the war of Doug Bradley's alter egos, Captain Elliot Spencer and Pinhead, and you just sit there and you're like, I like the film, but it needs to be a lot more gloomy. It needs to be a lot more darker. You know, it needed to be more like the first two, because the first two were so dark and so gloomy, but they messed with your head a bit. You know, I haven't stopped thinking about either of them since I finished watching them. Number 3, I'm probably going to think a little bit about, but it's not going to be in my mind for a long period. Like, I'm sure when I watch the rest of the Hellraisers, which I'm going to over the next couple of days, I'm sure the ones that stick out are going to be 1 and 2, yeah, because they're better. But because they mind blow you, they mind screw your head up. They make you think about things. They make you realise about greed, about deceit, about all this different stuff. And number 3, as much as it had this stuff in there, it wasn't dark. Having Pinhead stuck in like a statue thing, screaming for like 20, 30 minutes was terrible. The question is, did I enjoy the film? Yes, I did. Would I rate it as high as 1 and 2? No, I wouldn't. Would I say I'm sure it's better than the rest of them? Yes, I would, probably. I mean, do a solid 3 movies. Number 3, I'd put it in there, but I won't put it at the same level. Just under, just under a little bit. In my mind, it went from being great and moody and scary and all this to the third one being like good, but on a different level good. Like just under, like the Candyman, for instance. Like only Candyman 1, it was awesome. Candyman 2 was okay. That's what it was like. It was like the Candyman 2 was alright. It was pretty good. but it wasn't fantastic. It wasn't like Candyman 3, which was absolutely dreadful, but it was like that, if you get what I'm saying. I'm not dissing it. I think there's a lot of bad things about it, but it was still fun. Like when one of her friends as the like robot eye, I kept thinking of Cyborg, the film Cyborg, and I was just like, why are they doing this? Why are the Cenobites fighting police people, police officers? They didn't do that in the first one or the second one. Cenobites didn't really do anything. They just stood there while Pinhead did all the work, while he did all the talking. So it was a little bit like, I mean, yeah, they grabbed hold of Kirsty and all that, but you know. So yeah, I enjoyed the film, but there was a lot of negatives about it. I'm sure that it's just one of those things that probably because I've watched in the same period of time, like over the last 5 hours, but that's why I'm nitpicking a bit more. I think if I'd gave it a gap and maybe a couple of days, I probably would have enjoyed it slightly more. But at the same time, I probably would not have realised how great, but how bad it also was. But the fact is, the badness is in a good way as well. Like, like I freak out over Cenobites. And even though the Cenobites were bad and not as great as they could have been, it was still Cenobites what I liked. I liked the whole CD DVD thrower. I just thought that they were perfect compared to what they were. Like Terry, for instance. Terry's made into a female Cenobite. And she's nothing compared to the one in the first two movies. And the fact that they're beating Joey up and everything just makes you go, what? Like JP pulls the thing out of his head and starts beating her with it. And Terry starts putting cigarettes in her and stuff. And you're just like, okay, But yeah, they're only bone picking from what I've seen. So I'm kind of glad I've watched the other three movies. Well, the other two movies, and I've watched the three now. Because technically, according to a lot of people, the first three are the better ones anyway. So tomorrow I'm probably going to watch the next three, which are Bloodlines, Inferno, and is it Deader? Is it Deader? Or is it Hellseeker? I think it's Hellseeker. I mean, it's Bloodlines, Inferno, and Hellseeker, I think. They're the three I'm going to watch tomorrow, I think. So, well, I've got to, because if they're in the order. And then after that, I think the next time I'm going to watch Deader, Hell World, and Revelations. Revelations, oh. That's going to get a lot of negative for me, I reckon. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And I do recommend watching the movie, especially if you watch the other two, because it is a lot of fun. It just loses a lot of the atmosphere of the darkness and the gloominess and like the whole satanic, like the whole hell world existence. That's the only reason I didn't think it was as good. But if I don't think about those two movies, it was a great movie. So I'd give it a 3.5 just because I enjoyed it, but I didn't like it as much as the other two. And I wouldn't want to give it a really low score because it's not that bad. It's just not as good as the other two. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed all three of these videos today, and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Take care, guys. Bye bye for now.